Shine Campus. What's up? I hope everybody's doing well and enjoying your Sunday. Let me make sure that I'm on so that I don't go 15 minutes speaking and you guys can't hear me. Yeah, we got it. So I want to talk about why your life isn't flowing for you. We all experience hardship in life, and sometimes we feel like we can't necessarily get out of that hardship or that things have will ever turn for us. And there's a secret sauce that I want to be able to give you guys. And so there's three concepts that I want to talk about, but they all kind of follow one idea. And so the idea is this: is that your language, your money, and your connections are all spiritual. If you don't understand that scenario, what's going to happen is you're going to miss on your responsibility in those situations. And so when you talk about language, the idea that language is spiritual, if you just start being able to know more about what does that mean, my language is spiritual. Um, you look at something like the animal kingdom, they can't necessarily talk the way that we can. And we take it for granted a lot of times. As a matter of fact, even for myself, like I've spoiled the way that I have conversations sometimes, or I spoil the things that I'm taking in or that I'm receiving, um, and or the way that I'm putting it out. And so if you understand that, hey, language is spiritual and the way that I have to build it up needs to be different. Like, how am I interpreting my thoughts and putting my thoughts out there to other people who are going to gain them and be able to turn them into something? The second thing is money is spiritual. And so we don't interact a lot of times that money is spiritual. We usually interact with, as if money is a problem, or that we're going to chase it, or that at some rate that it is not something that we achieve, or something that we're only going to get by doing X, Y, and Z things. We need to think of it more as a spiritual level, like it's something, it's part of our process that needs to be happening in our life, of give and take and growth that will actually produce that money concept. All these things have a theme inside of them. And again, the word that I'm telling you that I want you to use to help your life to flow better is the idea of spirituality. The third thing is connection. So connection again is another spiritual experience. The more that you can find other people, exchange with other people, whether it's thoughts, goods and services, those kinds of things create a certain kind of element inside of you that you can't get anywhere else. Okay. And so if you can rewire your mind, and this is a hard thing because we don't usually think of these three things, language, money, and connections, as spiritual experiences. If you can rewire that, everything starts to change because you interact with these things differently. You might not hold connections to a precious level because you just think like, yes, I met somebody, or oh, I like to be around people, or oh, I'm an introvert, right? You might think those things about the situation, and then it just keeps you in that spot of not, of really just taking it for granted. Same thing with money, right? It goes and it comes. I have to go to work to make it. All those concepts decrease and devalue what those experiences are. And I'll tell you this, and this is why I say your life isn't flowing for you the way you want to. As soon as you start seeing that these things are spiritual and you're able to raise up your spirituality around these things, whether it's language, money, or connections, um, then you can start growing those situations. And as those situations grow, your life starts changing around. You don't experience the same things the same way anymore. So, how will we do with that with language? What does this look like? What does it look like for us to actually switch things over? And we'll go one by one. So, with the language concept, start saying things. One, observe things that you know will build you up and help you to produce the right kind of language. But then two, be very mindful of what you're saying, how you're saying it, who you're saying it to. All those things really matter, right? We're not just going for, I'm taking the language of the popular, whatever is popular right now. We're not just going for that scenario. We're doing a language that means I'm going to exude or demonstrate the spirituality behind the conversation that I'm having. Money. So there's a certain way to think about money, and one of the things that we do by accident, at least in the circles that I've grown up in, and with the people that I've talked to, is we reduce the concept of what money is and we minimize it and kind of make it a bad guy. And so, if we can think of money more as part of our abundance factor, which all these things will grow our abundance factors, if we can think of money more as not the trouble scenario, if anything, it's our thoughts and our beliefs that have created the trouble scenario. If we think of the money as an opportunity to be able to grow all the things that we need inside of our lives and inside of the lives of others, now it all switches because it's part of the third thing, which the third thing is the idea of connection. Let me finish real quick about the how to think more spiritual about money. Um, so understand that it's always there, it's always present, right? It's everywhere that you need to be. It's always possible for you to be able to have it. It's just a matter of you starting to channel it a different way. Okay. And so change your mindset about that and, and interacting with it, and then try to move yourself to being proactive about money instead of reactive about money. That takes on more of a spiritual concept with money. The third thing is the connection piece. And so, how do we enact or raise up our concept around spirituality with regards to connections? Well, part of what we're doing in those first two with language and money, part of what we're doing is we're actually realizing that, hey, our connection with other people is a big deal for our own personal growth, right? Not only is it a big deal for our own personal growth, it's a big deal for everybody else's growth. And so if we hinder that, or if we take that away, or if we mistreat other people, then we don't have the chances that we need in life to really change our life around the way we want to. And so the flip of that is embrace your connections, right? So I've made it goals in my past few days just to give a couple more smiles in the day, or emphasize the strengths that people have. Not that I'm trying to tell people lies, because I'll tell the truth in a second, but I want us to be connected around what that is. And so being able to grow connections around you, and not every connection needs to be the same necessarily. Like the connection I may have with my wife might be different than the one that I have with the person at the store that I say hello to, or the person at the gym that I smile at. No matter what it is, the goal is to build more connections. Okay. And so in your mind, think of it differently than that's just another person there, or I don't need to make a smile or make a difference in somebody else's life. If you can insert this concept of spirituality inside of your days, inside of your mindset, inside of your life, everything changes. But first, you need to know that these three things are spiritual. So again, it's language, money, connections. All three of those things are spiritual. If you realize that, you can start interacting like that. By the way, spirituality is one of the four cores that I talk about frequently. So I talk about the things that we need to do in life are we need to eat proactively. We need to be able to make sure we're getting the sleep that we need to be able to get. And everybody will be a little bit different, but you need to make sure you focus on getting that. And then eat, sleep, and then we need to be getting the exercise physically that we need to. And the fourth one, or not necessarily any order, but the fourth of those three would be, or those four would be spirituality. So we have to raise up our spiritual connections and spiritual concepts. Well, it's good to know. Here's three ways for you to raise up those spiritual concepts. One is through language, how you're going to start talking and thinking about language, and then two, money, what you're going to do to move it to proactive and be able to share it with others and grow it for the people around you. And then three, being able to raise up the way that you're doing connection, knowing how meaningful it is. If you guys realize, or as we're talking about that, if you start thinking about like, man, what will this do? Well, it's going to grow you. And I talk a lot about abundance factors. So it's going to just scale everything through the roof for you, right? Because you're going to start doing life in a different kind of way, and maybe it's hard at first, but eventually it just starts blossoming. Okay. And that's what we want to try to get to. And so don't be afraid of the abundance that's coming. Keep working at being able to build this spirituality up, and you're going to be in a great spot. All right, you guys, it was good to see you, and we'll talk to you soon.